Just under the wire, Dan. All right, we'll go ahead and call the April monthly meeting to order. If we could get a roll call, please.
Allen. Yes. Miller.
Here.
Shevitz.
Yes.
Minders.
Yes.
Reuter.
Here.
Manthi.
Here. We have a quorum. Please rise.
It's the grass compliance.
No, I start every time.
No.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miles, could I get the sign-in sheet? Yes. Thank you. Yep. All right, president's comments. I had them written out, forgot to bring them. They'll come up at the appropriate time during the meeting, so I don't have anything ahead of the meeting. Any trustees want to comment on anything not on the agenda? All right, start with public comments. Steve?
I'm just observing.
Okay. Betsy, your number, you can be the first one then.
Yeah. I wanted to just say that this past Saturday, we had an Easter egg hunt at the park. It turned out really good, thanks to the community growth group and Methodist ladies, the village, and anybody else I'm forgetting to thank. It turned out well. There was about 70 kids. So then I wanted to talk a little bit about number 7, and I think I might be behind on my facts and rumors. Okay. So straighten me out, but I'd like to just say this and then I'll sit down and listen, okay? On the Shannon Police Protection. So if Shannon is going to give about $100,000 to the county and we're having some police protection from them right now, what additional services will we get for that $100,000? Will there be a dedicated officer? We'd like to have some growth in Shannon, right? I'm all for that. Housing, community center, library. If we have new building and new center, new citizens that come to Shannon, are they gonna wanna come here without individual police protection? You know, we've got the pavilion in the park. In the last couple of years, there's been vandalism there. So with these new community centers or library, whatever, there's probably, they need protection. When the county sheriff was here a few months ago, I heard him repeatedly say that Shannon needed their own protection to have deterrence. And when I listen to that, that tells me that he doesn't want the job. I've interviewed a lot of people and hired people, and when they give you a main, that they're not going to take on a certain task or don't feel that they can do that task, or that that's not the best that they can do for you, that wouldn't probably be a hire of mine. You know, with a concentration of 500 to 600 people in this community, I really think we need our own protection. Let's see. So I think you spent some money on some ads, and I heard that you surfaced some better candidates. So I would just like to say, could maybe you extend it another month if you started to surface some quality applicants? I know you had put on the agenda that you made the deadline in April. I respect that. You need to move on. You know, after contracting the county, if that's what you decide to do, and you find that Shannon's crime increases, can you return to our own police protection? And then finally, you know, Shannon is a great community. Everybody's willing to help each other out. We're really blessed to have senior advising and some new youth on our board. I think that's the right direction to go. So thank you for listening.
Thanks, Betsy.
Thank you.
I think we're gonna get into policing as its own thing later, so I'll respond to. You gotta wait. At least for now. Tracy?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for a couple minutes of your time tonight. Last time I got together with you folks was a couple months ago, and I talked a little bit about the Hometown Legacy Pots project. It was brought before the board by a trustee for a motion on that, and it was declined. We're real disappointed about that, the Community Growth Group. We're really excited about this town beautification project. We've worked on it a solid 18 months. And while we're disappointed about the denial, we still really would like to see something happen. Some sort of touch of nature and color brought to downtown, some aesthetic improvement. So we put our heads together and we came up with an alternate plan. It was drawing on some of the comments that was made by all of you folks. A couple of you folks were focusing on sidewalk pots. And a few of you folks were focusing on what was the labor going to be for this? How are we going to manage watering, et cetera? So I heard some concerns there. We discussed those at the CGG. We came up with an alternate plan. I highlighted all of the details in here. I don't expect a decision tonight. I was asked to be added to the next meeting in May as a topic and a motion. There's some benefits to this plan. As I mentioned earlier, it was an idea brought up by a trustee. The sidewalk pots don't require a wand and a pump for watering, and the sidewalk pots require less time annually as removal won't require special equipment. The cost for you folks is going to be, for the village, I should say, is going to be less every year. And it's very, very close to the number that you budgeted already, which was, I think, 3,500.
I think it was 3,000, but we have some wiggle room with that because there's already park budgets and I have my monthly budget as well.
Okay, so all the data is in here, so please take some time and take a look at it, and it's as close as I could get. I may have missed it. I do encourage you to take a look at my numbers because I'm not perfect. I'm not a finance person. But the first year will be 4,100 approximately. And going onwards, it'll be about 3,792. So we did bring that number down. We're real close to what you folks budgeted. We'd really love to see a second pass at our proposal. Maybe have a second motion where you bring up your number a little bit annually. The benefits for this is that first of all, should you approve, I will go back to all of the wonderful businesses and residents who verbally gave us their approval to sign up. It is going to be more per pot. These are very large pots. I have a picture of it here and a spec, so you can take a look at that. These stand 41 inches high, so about this tall. And you're going to be able to see those a little bit better than what we have out there. The ones we have are kind of short, they're great, but again, these have a lifetime warranty. They're American made, they're plastic, you can move them around. They're not going to need once you get the dirt out, you're not going to need a lift to move them. You can also go to this website and check them out. I was really impressed with them, and I checked out 4 different companies. A lot of these companies source internationally, so we're not guaranteed that we're going to be able to get the product. So thank you for your time. Again, if you can add me to the CGG to the May meeting and take a look at these, and we would really love to have your investment. I have not gone back to the village yet with this. I'd really love to get your buy-in before we take the time and remarket the project. So if you could let me know, I would, if we could talk about it at the next meeting, I'd appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions right now?
I'd say I think Bodie and I were going to start ordering pots, so we'll start looking at these. I mean, like, we already have budget, so
Okay,
if these are the pots that we want to go with, we
and remember,
full vote today.
and we buy the pots. That's our responsibility. The investment that the community growth group is putting in is about $8,000 a year, $8,500, because we are paying for the cost of the pots. And the pot should last forever. Your investment will be the plants and the soil ongoing, and then also the installing and the maintenance. We'll do the installation the first year. So that's the benefit of partnering with us. Is that
How
we're
fast can they get here?
they're at about 6 weeks at the most. So we could probably, if we got something soon, we might be able to do something better than that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time. I can leave it here if you want.
All right, I think that's Bob.
Yeah,
Good signature there.
you bet. My big concern is the police department. I know that you guys are looking, trying to find somebody, and I don't know what avenues you went to procure somebody. I know there's companies that will find people for you to work, called headhunters. I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but I've dealt with them a few times. I don't think that we don't want to have police protection. Shannon has nothing to draw as far as businesses or anything like that. So it's a bedroom community for young people and old people. And they can't take care of themselves. So they need to have close protection. I've been told more than once that Shannon is a lawless community, and I don't really think that's a good title to have. So once you get rid of the police department, then I think it's just downhill the rest of the way. The next thing they'll go, once the police goes, then you're gonna start working on sewer and water and streets, sanitation and whatever. So it's like, you need to keep the policemen. That's it for that. Then I saw on your agenda that you're gonna have a tabletop before anybody, for speed bumps or whatever, before anybody votes for that, I think they should plow snow with Bodie and see how that works out, because you're gonna spend a lot of money on repairs, and poor Bodie's gonna need new teeth because his teeth are gonna go through the windshield. Knowing that because I've dealt with them. So my two things, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is it Bella? All right. I'll let you talk on the birth to 5 before I sign this proclamation. Unless you want to say anything else about Shannon, I'll get back to you.
no, I don't live in Shannon.
Okay.
So.
Dan?
I just wanted to.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, what?
No, go ahead.
I appreciate being here tonight, and that you're doing the proclamation for the Week of the Young Child. For those of you who don't know, I'm from Birth to 5, Illinois, Region 8. Birth to 5, Illinois, we are an outreach and engagement organization, and our main focus is awareness about the importance of early childhood education and care. Unfortunately, only 1 in 4 children in our state are prepared for kindergarten, and the best way to be prepared for kindergarten is to go to preschool. The best way to be prepared for preschool is early childcare. And the whole state in general has a lack of early childcare slots. There's a lot of people that are on very long wait lists. And so we're just here for the proclamation to talk about the importance of early childhood and that we need more childcare out here. And I know it's easier said than done and it's a long process, but that's what I'm here for. So.
Great. Can you just tell a little bit about Birth to 5, what you guys do?
Yeah, so we're outreach and engagement. And so we go out into the community. We are not service providers, but we are facilitators. We try to get different people connected in the community so that people can collaborate on solutions with early childhood problems. We also have a family council. What we try to do is we take family experience and try to raise it up to community leaders so that the families feel as though they're being heard and that they're involved in the change of what's going on. So that's what we do. And we also support current things that are going on in the community, like the providers that are already out there.
Great. Fantastic. Any ideas of how Shannon can help that goal?
Not at this moment right now.
I'm putting you on the spot. I'm just messing with
Manager Luann Hayes, she would be a really good person to talk to. I'm the family and community engagement specialist, so I more so deal with like the families and doing story times at libraries and things like that.
I've met with Luann. I just wanted to put you on the spot. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Dan?
Yeah, I just wanted to, express support for positive action on the solar and battery storage deployment through the IEPA grant. I think that's a good opportunity to handle both resiliency in terms of keeping the functions running during power outages and the like, and then also just over the long term save operational costs with presumably, from what I've heard, a pretty short payback period to get to that point where the village is saving money. And knowing a little bit about the opportunity, I think this is a good chance to, at the very least, apply and see how competitive that is. And especially with the expense ratio, I think it's a pretty good deal for the village. So I just offer encouragement to pursue that opportunity. I know grants are often challenging to secure, but this looks like a good opportunity and seems to check off a lot of boxes that potentially save them money and make the town more resilient long term. So I just wanted to note that. Also, just on the second, on the policing front, just, I guess, express some optimism about at least what I've heard communicated about the negotiations with the sheriff's department and also the potential flexibility that if this particular plan does not work as intended, that there's always the opportunity to set something up again within Shannon under its own authority and activities, but encouraged in part because of the potential for cost savings, and given the revolving door nature of our personnel assigned to our own police department in the past, it would be nice to have some stability. And while this could be seen as a bit of an experiment, I guess the nice thing with experiments is that you can always go back to what you know, even if this doesn't work out. So as long as there is some kind of guardrails on what the village will be able to do long-term, opting out of a contract, making sure there's some accountability with respect to the type of actions and metrics that are going to be measured as part of that. I think it's nice to see the conversation going, because I know that policing across the region, and frankly, public services in general, for the public safety side, are going to have to deal with questions of staffing and being able to pay, especially in communities where there is not growth by their nature, or they're not tied to it, which then makes it difficult to raise monies for those services over time as inflation and other factors take over. So I just hope that on that topic, the board is deliberative and I guess encouraged to try something new, while also trying to monitor how well it goes and do so with some kind of vigor. So
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
All right. How am I doing here? I think we are to the consent agenda. I've had enough opportunity to view it. I'll take a motion, otherwise I'll give you a minute.
Just one thing to add to the financial report, appropriations. The fiscal year ends here shortly, and we'll need to start looking at appropriations. It'll have to be passed by the July meeting.
So May or June, last year we did a special meeting because it was our first time. We spent a few hours on it. So we'll just see how busy the May meeting is, and if it's not busy, we'll do it then. Otherwise, we'll go from there.
Just start the discussion at any rate.
Sure.
I would encourage everybody to review last year's ordinance. I can get it to anybody that needs it.
While trustees are going over the consent agenda, zoning report.
Not much going on there. Village maintenance report, we're hopefully gonna order some material tomorrow, fencing through dock, and a resident in town has some used chain link we're gonna buy to save some costs. So hope to have that done in a couple of weeks.
Great. Water and sewer, Perry's not here. She would give me an update that I'll share. The biggest news is there were no violations in 2025. No violations in 2025. Consumer confidence report will be upcoming with the EPA. This year, Perry and I we're going to do a video for the village, and we'll go through the CCR together, so you can help people know how to read the CCR and what everything means. So that'll probably be coming in May. Our video and the CCR will be posted in May as well, but no violations once again. Safety? Everyone safe? All right. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I make a motion. I'll second it.
First by Manthe, second by Minders. Roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
Miller.
Yep.
Shevitz.
Yes.
Minders.
Yes.
Reuter.
Yes.
Manthi.
Yes.
All right. Proclamations times. I'm not going to read all three of these in total, but I'll read some of them. So first, the Birth to 5 Week of the Young Child. Whereas Birth to 5 Illinois and other local organizations in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Children are celebrating the Week of the Young Child, April 11th through the 18th of this year. And whereas the Week of the Young Child was established in recognition that early childhood years lay the foundation for children's success in school and later in life, and whereas it is the purpose Its purpose is to focus public attention on the needs of young children and their families and caregivers, and to recognize the early childhood programs and services that meet those needs. Going down, I, Ryan Shaner, Village President, do hereby proclaim April 11th through the 18th of this year as the Week of the Young Child in Shannon, Illinois. I will sign that. It'll be stamped and we'll get it posted. Do you want a copy of that as well?
Sure.
Would you have to use the gavel to make it official?
No, no gavel tonight. No gavel tonight. And I'll post all three of these online as well, and I'll tag you guys in it. Again, thank you for reaching out. I appreciate what you guys do, and hopefully we can collaborate in the future. So I want to make a copy of it more quickly. All right, Arbor Day. Dan, before I do this, do we have dates on when we're planting trees this year yet?
Not yet, but likely in May.
Okay. Just an update last year. How many trees did we plant last year?
We planted about 50.
50 trees. It's going to be smaller in scope this year, though.
I think, yeah. Smaller scope or smaller trees, one or the other.
One or the other. All right. So we'll get that posted. The village will support that any way that we can. At the very least, my $1,000 that I have monthly, I'd love to donate toward the Arbor Day and trees. But whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, I, Ryan Shaner, President of the Village of Shannon, do hereby proclaim April 24th of this year as Arbor Day. And I and the Village of Shannon urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And if you'd like to do that, we'll certainly be looking for volunteers to plant more trees this year. Thanks, Dan, for all you do in that regard. And lastly, a brotherhood aimed toward education asked for us to proclaim the month of May as Motorcycle Awareness Month, and I shall do so. Sign that and get them back to abate. Thank you all for all my whereases. All right, moving on to the substantive agenda items. Number 4, speed tables on Stanton and Walnut. Continue to hear from residents about speeding on these streets. I agree with Bob, and Bodie does not want permanent speed tables by any measure. So I looked at online, found a quote for $15,000 for 4 of them that are removable. You can change the size of them. You can move them. You can take them down in the winter. Question just becomes whether the board wants to do anything like this. I'm sure the board has heard from others about speeding, but
Well, where I'm coming from is I think that I don't know how we narrowed it down to just Stanton and Walnut, because, I mean, we see people fly down Hickory Street every day, and the kids playing at the park right around Hickory Street there all the time. And I mean, I think it's a slippery slope of, well, hey, if we got them on Stanton and
I
Walnut,
want them on my street too,
then
yeah.
we need to have them on Hickory Street and on
Division
and every other street in town. So,
Sure. This came down, I should say, whether I support it or not, it's up to the board to vote on it. These are just the streets that I hear complaints about the most. I right down the street from you, yes, there are a few speeders on Hickory from time to time, and I'm sure that's true on every street.
Mhm.
So
I think the money be better spent on an officer. Speed bumps.
We could be a little proactive on our own. We could put up our own speed trailer that we have.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you. $15,000 would be better spent on an officer.
it's a pretty cheap officer. If you can find me an officer for $15,000, I'll sign him up.
You know what? Okay, you want to spend $15,000? I'd rather buy the digital signs
How
from
many
in
speeding
town.
tickets have actually been written out in Shannon, regardless whether it's,
What's that?
how many speeding tickets have actually been written out or warnings between when we've had the county and when we've actually had an officer?
I agree. Not
I can
many.
tell you the exact number. I can go count them up for the 2 years of our last police chief. I have those on the desk. The county does have metrics, but they haven't done individualized Shannon metrics yet. though. If we do go that route, they would give us those metrics. So I don't know.
Have we gotten more calls now since obviously people know that we were searching for police force? More so as of the last 6 months versus before that, only because we don't have that presence. So when we make a decision, that will probably also change.
Yeah.
I know from the past, we've had people complain, and I'll pick on the one that isn't living on Stanton Street. You could literally drive past his house at 25 miles an hour, and he thought you were doing 50.
Are you talking about specifically speeding or all?
Well, yeah, speeding.
I don't
More
know.
so than anything. Like,
I
have
mean,
we
what's the
gotten
point
more?
of tracking speeding if, and sorry to interrupt, if
No.
we're not gonna issue any, tickets aren't gonna be issued?
Well, I think the idea here is no one can speed if we're putting speed tables on the streets because they have to slow down to 20 miles per hour.
I personally have been guilty of what, oh, look, I'm going 40. I'm still going 40. And I'm still going 40 as I drive right past. If there's nobody sitting there waiting,
Yeah,
to
with
give me
the-
anything.
Your car undercarriage is not very happy with
We're
you.
gonna unplug one of her spark plugs.
I'm just saying.
Alice is very happy you're here. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's something that we necessarily need. Again, once we get police force here, whether it's county or not,
Mhm.
I feel like
And
it's.
Are those temporary? It's hard for me to read the dimensions on them.
It
But
moved. Now it's really
I
hard.
mean, we could throw strips out and they drive over them and that'd
Here's
stop it.
kind of what they
And then we
look
catch
like.
it.
So they come in smaller and you combine them. It comes with all sorts of pieces, I guess.
well,
Logan's gonna love these.
and
Sorry, I mean, was-
Kyle, you can attest to this because you're.
We bought one.
We bought them
We bought them.
at Lions Park for baseball season.
Yep.
People
Yeah.
fly up and down that alleyway there
Oh, yeah.
during games and everything else. We put speed bumps in there, and you want to know what they do? They go just as fast.
They make
right
noise
around
when you go
them.
fast over them.
And they go right around them.
Yep.
They go right in the grass right around them.
Like
So
at
unless it
Milledgeville High
goes
School.
from curb
Yeah.
to curb, which
These
that's a
would-
wide
Actually,
street.
in that case, it should be from fence to fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are 20 feet. So when I was talking to the individual, they would cover the whole street other than the parking. So yes, if someone's not on the side parking, you could go right around them.
Just
I see
don't fill
one.
potholes. Those
Natural
signs, go
speed.
Working over those.
We can do that.
So
I'm just saying, unless it goes from curb to curb, it's not going to deter anyone anyways, and it is a giant waste of money. Right?
I agree.
Because there are just as many people flying down that short little alley at Lions Park during baseball games as there was before we put the speed bumps up.
And we got a lot less invested than they do.
Oh, yeah, those were.
Our speed bump came from Amazon.
Oh, look at the Amazon one. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's something that's necessary.
All right, sounds good.
Would anyone, because we're on the speeding topic, would anybody entertain the digital signs for the end of town? Regardless, if we hire a police chief tomorrow, or we go with the county or whatever, that aside, would anybody entertain that?
And what is the point of it?
Basically, to slow people
For
down so
people
they
to
realize how
acknowledge
fast they're
the
going.
fact that they're speeding.
Again,
Where would you
if
put
you're
them?
like me. Yeah, I mean, is there
You put
gonna be a
them along
camera
the
on
state
there
highway,
that's
they'd be
gonna
digital
catch the
signs,
plate?
Doesn't IDOT
When
have
you
to
go
approve
through-
that?
Yeah,
Like
they
drive
would,
past?
they would definitely have to approve it. But I mean, they do it in other municipalities. I mean,
Paperwork, I mean, we just have to.
you can't drive through Madison and not see them. I'd hate to think how
I
many.
just don't know what, I mean, they're there, but then, okay, it's a deterrent, but if you have somebody like me who maybe ignores it from time to time.
You can buy the really expensive ones that have cameras.
Good. Some of us are law-abiding citizens that would slow
I
down.
mostly am.
I slow
I
down.
mostly am. She said that right on camera.
I do tend, I maybe on occasion have a little bit of a lead foot.
I guess my thought process is it's a big investment to make for something that is in my opinion, mild deterrent at best. It just lets you know you're speeding. There's no real consequence for.
Oh, no, with the camera, there's consequence. They send you a ticket.
Well,
yeah,
if that is actually what would happen.
Yeah, but how much are those?
They're very
Yeah.
expensive.
And they're talking about,
And it's a lot more involved than merely
Yeah.
putting up a sign and sending somebody a
Yeah,
ticket.
they're,
yes,
that
and
would-
they're talking about doing away with,
Matter of fact, I think you have to almost have the
Making them-
legislature approve.
yeah.
it's a lot of work. You can get them done, but they're a lot of work. but that's something, we can talk about at another time, I suppose.
Just an outright speed gun sign though, I think that is a waste of money.
I think you might have had the right answer. You're speeding, boom, flat tire.
The speed gun.
Boom,
It's a different
speeding,
kind
boom,
of-
flat tire.
Different kind of speed gun.
Right in front of Al's, it'd be good for business.
Yeah.
No, you put it in front of them, that way
Yeah.
that by the time they
Yeah.
can't go anymore, then they're
Jump
right in
over
front
the
of us.
All right, then we will move on to agenda item number 5.
We can officially say the meeting has derailed.
No action on 4. So number 5, the solar panel and energy resilience at the wastewater treatment plant grant. That's not the official name. The name in your packet, there's 3 documents as it pertains to this grant. Not in yours, sorry. I'll get them here. These are yours for after. The first is
That's not that.
essentially the grant's summary, the Resilient Energy for Wastewater Infrastructure Grant Program. Dan, if you're looking for them, you won't see them, but I can hand you mine after.
Oh, no, I just wanted to have it.
Gotcha. So this just kind of tells you what the program is, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Solar panels at wastewater plants, and they also would like a battery storage component of that. So for when the grid goes down, our wastewater plant continues to function. I did talk to Perry about that. There have been times in the past where the grid's gone down, and that's caused problems for the wastewater plant. So this isn't some problem that's non-existent in Shannon. Certainly, when I look at it, I see the savings for the village as it comes to electricity costs. So that's page number 2. In 2019, just to give an idea of where energy costs have gone, the University of Illinois came in 2022 and completed an energy efficiency assessment, and they used our 2019 energy costs as their baseline. And then that year, 2019 to 2020, the energy cost of the wastewater plant cost $10,600. This year, it's projected to be $19,000. So not quite double, and nothing has changed. So just an idea of where energy costs have gone across the board. So the numbers that I have there under the no solar cost tab of the table, just assume a 4% increase every year. With solar costs, as I have in my blurb at the bottom, I don't expect our energy bill or utility bill to be 0 after we get solar. During the winter months specifically, we're still going to have to pull on the grid. Let me pull this up for everyone that's here.
Ryan, I'm not being difficult, but I do want to know, the $19,000 is actual energy used.
That's everything. That's our bills.
Then that's not true to life energy savings, just so you know.
There are still going to be the delivery costs.
That, which we just found out is almost, on one of the bills was half the bill.
So when we are pulling from the grid specifically in winter, we'd expect, I have 17.5%, so it probably will be more than that. That's the number I went, was that our bill would go down 82.5%. So 17.5% would remain. So that's the with solar cost table here on screen and what the village's trustees have. So it just comes to estimated savings, and that's an easy one. What would it be without solar? What it would be with solar? With these numbers, again, 17.5% remaining, our $125,000 initial investment would be paid back within 7 years. And then we would expect the solar panels to last for an additional 18 years beyond that, which again, going through these numbers, a 4% increase year after year, while the solar panels degrade by 0.5% every year, comes out to about $500,000 in savings and the return of our $125,000 investment over 25 years.
The couple of companies that we have been working with on the other solar projects that we had talked about, what do they say as far as annual cost of maintenance, especially towards the later years of the solar panels' lives?
So I'm actually working with Eagle Point Solar, who was our lowest bid when I called for bids. There are going to be costs associated with I don't have exact figures is the easy answer. There are going to be costs associated with, there is going to be insurance costs, which this does not factor in. I don't think they are that amount, of such a great amount. We'd be looking at many more years for ROI, return of investment. It might be another year or two.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I did not factor in insurance. I did not factor in, I heard on solar panels, you generally have to replace some part that I can't remember at the 15-year mark. So The 7-year, it might be more like 8 or 9. There's some numbers that I did not factor into this, but all in all, the big thing is if we apply for a $500,000 project, which is the high end, I don't know if it would cost that much.
Thank you.
We are essentially getting a $500,000 asset for $125,000. This grant requires a 25% match. Regardless, if you think about the insurance and replacing parts and taking care of it, the ROI might return 9 years instead of 7, but that still leaves quite a long time to recover costs and
this is us
savings.
owning.
This is what?
This is us owning everything.
Is us owning everything. So the actual solar panels themselves in this original bid for the wastewater plant was $300,000. And I say 400 to 500 because I don't have an exact amount of how much the battery storage system will cost and the infrastructure associated with that. So 400 to 500 is what I'm guessing. I've been using the highest number, 500,000. And the reason why we need a battery storage system is for the third sheet you have, which is the scoring system for this grant, which is nice that we actually get to know ahead of time
That's great.
how they're going to score this grant. And a battery storage system is 15 points. If you have one, it's 0 if you don't. It's a yes or no. So I'm looking for a battery that will power the wastewater plant for maybe 6 hours if the grid goes down. Hopefully that's not too much. I'm working with Eagle Point right now to try to find a cost-effective battery that can actually do what the grant is set up to do, which is make sure that it's running when there's grid failure. Everything else.
6 pumps. You're supposed to know
Are you
this
talking, what are you talking about?
for the sewer plant.
I don't know.
You're supposed to know that kind of stuff.
I spend most of my time at the tower over there.
So we're pretty well positioned because it just so happens that in 2022, U of I came in here and did the energy efficiency assessment. So that's 10 points. And it just so happens that after that energy efficiency assessment, we did upgrade the aerators in the wastewater plant. Now we're just about at that 5-year mark, but we are in there. So that's 20 points that we lucked out on. The energy resiliency plan, I asked Fair Graham to do. I'm asking the board to approve that and pay for it because that's 30 points as opposed to 0 if we don't have one, though we can quote unquote commit to one for half points. But again, Shannon, I think should be as competitive as possible for this grant. We're well positioned for it. What it comes down to is we get max points across every single scoring individual category other than the last one. We do not qualify as being too poor, nor are we have sufficient minority population to qualify for any points. So the projected total would be 125 out of 135. So that's still an A in my book.
Even on the new grading system.
Even on the new grading system. So I'm looking for 2 things for this board. The first is approval of cost sharing of 25% of whatever the total cost will be, with the understanding that I've asked Eagle Point, and my goal is to not be above 500,000. So 125,000 on the lower end would be 400. So I'm looking for a 25% match that we would in fact match that if we got the grant, paying between $100,000 and $125,000 for this project. I will note that we have to pay upfront month to month and we're reimbursed month to month. So we don't have to pay all 400, 500 upfront, but whatever work has to be paid in a month, we pay it. They pay us back 75% is my understanding of the grant. So there will be times where we pay out a larger amount and then pay back within the month, but it's kind of the plan. So first, I'd be looking for a resolution of support for this grant project, and I'd take any questions anyone has as it relates to the grant project.
What's the cost from Fairground for doing the grant and the other thing you just said?
I'm doing the grant.
Okay.
Perry and Fairgraham and I are working on it, and Denise has helped as well, but I will be writing it. I'll have them review it. The resiliency study, I don't have an exact amount. They quoted around $2,000 for me.
What is the timetable for decision on this particular grant once we apply?
April 30th is the deadline for applications, and they expect to have decisions fairly quickly. I believe it's on the website. I don't think I copied it here, but I think it's within a few months. It's very quick turnaround time.
And how quick is the turnaround time with Eagle Point Solar for
The project
the
itself,
project itself?
fairly quick. I'd expected everything to be up by 2027. But I guess I don't know when the funds will be released. My understanding is approval will be within a few months, whether that's a 2027 project then, the actual projects themselves get done fairly quickly. I know in their original bid, they talked about some projects and the time it took them to do them, and we're talking months. We're not talking any amount of years or anything like that. So long as the grant is approved, which again, we're just applying for a grant. This is not guaranteed money, but for this grant, I need the board to be on board with paying 25%. But if we were to get the grant, they would give us more information how funds are released or when those funds are available for reimbursement. And once we have that, we can go ahead and get this done as quick as possible. I would love to have this up and running next year if we got the grant.
So you said if we get the grant, we pay up front and they reimburse each month-ish.
Yeah, they reimburse monthly-ish. They said no more than monthly.
So how much would we technically need up front then if they're like, yep, you got it, we need X amount? Because if we're paying monthly, then obviously it's broken down for how long and.
Yeah, I don't have that information. I don't know how Eagle Point would work when it comes to, do we pay on a payment plan month to month, or do they just want all? And I should say, I keep saying Eagle Point, we technically have to put this back out for bids again. Eagle Point was just the lowest bid on the last time, and I've been working with them, so.
I would assume typically there's progress payments, so there would be like an initial down payment and then payment prior to start and then a completion payment or something along those lines would be my guess. Or probably 3 or 4 progress payments would be my guess.
I'd expect that as well. The big thing is we do have our line of credit through the bank where we can pay interest only until we get our grant money from the government. So there might be some interest payments, but the big thing is we don't have to pull $300,000 out of our general fund.
Yeah.
We do have that line of credit where we can pay interest only until we are refunded no more than monthly, quote unquote.
If they pull the funding for the grant, are we still stuck with it?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I think the insurance is a big question for me. After seeing the solar farm get absolutely destroyed by hail, and then supposedly the owners walked away from it, left it for the farmer who owned it. So that would be a major question.
I guess the thing is too, let's say, I don't know how much the insurance will be. I haven't looked yet.
No, I
But
get it.
let's just assume it's some reasonable number that increases the ROI by a year or two. But let's say it's some unreasonable number that makes it not feasible, which I can't imagine. If we get the grant money, we could just say, no, thank you. If we apply for the grant, we get it, and our insurance quote is $100,000, we just say, no, thank you.
And then just move on to the next applicant.
Correct.
I would find it really, I'm not an insurance agent, but I would find it really hard to believe that the insurance would be astronomical, or else all of these communities and private businesses would not be investing all this money into solar. They have to be insurable within a reasonable amount.
I would presume that
After
is
so many years, there'll probably be less of a payout for something too, degradation.
Yeah, they degrade by
Battery.
0.5%
Just like
per
we do on
year.
your house roof now and
Yeah.
everything, yeah.
What would it cost to get rid of them after 25 years when they're,
Well, my hope is they'd last for more than 25 years. 25 years is just kind of the baseline for the industry. But the answer is I don't know. I haven't looked into how much it costs to remove solar panels. I don't know how many 25-year solar panels have been removed yet. They kind of are a newer phenomenon, at least in mass.
Between now and 25 years, someone has a business opportunity to recycle and reclaim
Yeah.
solar
Well,
panels.
That's
silver
something
and
that
solar
needs to be
panels.
remembered though. And this is not a dig against this board. There needs to be put money away or aside or whatever for that. And I'm not saying it's gotta be tens of thousands of dollars a year, but you gotta have that, that has to be passed along to the next board.
Yeah.
This is coming, you need to
Needs to be
prepare.
worked into a budget.
Unlike what we did with the water tower of after 20 years, it needs $500,000 spent on it.
It's called forward thinking and budgeting. Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
that, but when the board passes hands, that don't happen.
I guess, again, the idea is with these numbers, I understand they might not be correct because there is some, but 75, say it's 27.5 instead of 17.5, you're still looking at $450,000 of savings over 5 years. Again, I don't have an exact number. That's good information to have before we accept the grant, if we do in fact get it. But even if it's 10 or 20,000, you're still talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of savings. I just can't imagine these incidental costs eat into the return any significant amount. But
You ever talk to the mayor of Mount Morris?
thank you.
Thank you.
I have not, no.
They have a solar farm. That's why I asked.
So does Freeport at their wastewater plant.
Yeah, but I want to do nothing like what Freeport does. Mount Morris is a little closer to Shannon in size.
A little bit. All right, any other questions, any other thoughts?
I think it's a no-brainer to at least attempt to try to get the grant. Like you said, we're not voting to do it. We are voting to spend $2,000 for the report from Fairgram and to apply for the grant that we can later decline if we get it. So I think at this point, it is a no-brainer to move forward with it and get some more information so that we have all the information if we do indeed get the grant, so we can make the final decision then.
Sounds like a motion
A motion, that would be a motion.
to apply.
Is that a motion for A and B?
Yes,
All right, so a motion to support the cost sharing 25% for the project, which would be somewhere between $100,000 and $125,000 projected for the village, and to approve a resiliency study by Fairgram with an expected cost of roughly $2,000. We don't have to put the money in there, but it's going to be around that. Have a first by Manthe,
Second.
Okay.
first by Manthe, second by Allen.
You want to go through and say that, what all you just said again? very
Sure.
slowly?
This is a resolution in support of the cost sharing aspect of this grant. 25% of the total cost projected to be between $100,000 and $125,000 for the village, and to pay Fairgram to do a resiliency study on the wastewater plant.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
Miller,
Yep.
Shevitz,
Yes.
Minders,
Yes.
Reuter,
No.
Manthe.
yes.
Very good. We'll get that done. All right, declaring items as surplus property. Did we get that done?
Ordinance 454, declare surplus dump truck, Sterling low profile combustion vented heater, 5 to 6 gallon water heater, and the efficiency trench box.
Or do you want to just go over quick what these items are and why we don't need them?
First one is the military truck. Don't need that anymore, it's just kind of wasting space. Second is the heater, the low profile heater. Second is a 6 gallon water heater, and then the one is a trench box. Jason and Dale had bought in 2008, I think, and never actually used it. Another municipality is looking
When you say a 6 gallon water heater, you're talking a,
at 6 gallon water heater.
good, could you bring it over here and hook it to the bathroom?
That would be great.
That was the idea of it for
Ah.
the prior administration. It will not.
It won't do that
It
job?
won't work.
Oh, well, that sucks. Okay.
Well, if it won't do that job, then get rid of it.
So it's ordinance number,
454.
we have a motion to pass ordinance 454.
Yes.
First by Reuter,
Second.
second by Mashevitz. Roll call, please.
Allen.
Yes.
Miller,
No.
Shevitz,
Yes.
Minders,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Manthi.
Yes.
All right, these going around. Come over that way.
Let's say we gotta play the recycled game.
These two that way. See, Dan. Let these go around quick before we move on to law enforcement.
Well, that's going around. Did we have discussion about doing the work of making Shannon, or attempting to make Shannon a tree city?
We are in the process of doing that. That was part of the Arbor Day proclamation.
I think Shannon already is a tree city. It was done a long time ago.
It is not, you have to renew it every year.
Okay.
So that has fallen by the wayside. We are not a
That's a pain, but, oh, this.
Tree City USA community, but we will be next year.
Sharon Weaver was the last chairperson of it, and they haven't lived here in 15 years. That was actually, they used to.
Let's keep these separate.
separate.
Really screw. Was there only two?
There's two coming both ways.
I thought we needed 127 of them. Didn't we used to do 6?
What was that?
So we need to be there this year, plant the trees.
That's true.
Kyle.
What's that? With my hydraulic auger on my telehandler, I'd be happy to. If you think I'm gonna dig it with a shovel, you're goofy.
Oh, we did. We did?
You're goofy.
I had a rib out.
There's things I have to do by hand and there's things that equipment is for.
Couldn't move for 2 days, but yeah,
Good workout.
it was good. It was fun.
You call Julie, I'll be there with the post hole digger.
Have them all pre-drilled already.
Yep.
Let's go set them in.
I will be there the day before in the little cab of the little piece of equipment. I could park in the street and have a tree 20 feet from the street.
Watching us.
22 if you don't mind if it's crooked.
All right, while Nicole's finishing signing those, we can move on to law enforcement and Shannon. So just to go over some numbers quickly. We have received officially 13 applicants for this position. I have interviewed 8 of those applicants. The board has interviewed 4 of those applicants, and we discussed in total 6 of those applicants. The board board directed me to give an offer to one individual. When I looked into that individual, well, that individual would have been a great hire. When I talked to the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board, they were not able to be certified easily, so that fell through. So in total, 13 official applicants, and I can tell you unofficial applicants would probably double that number. Realistically, we can call it another 7 that I have talked to in some capacity, but have not officially applied. It has been 6 months, actually moving on 7, but 6 months of fully no law enforcement at this point. I am of the opinion that we have a great option with the sheriff's department. It is not set in stone yet. If this board decides that it does want to indicate its support of the sheriff's contract, I will go through one more set of negotiations with the county board or a few members of the county board, and I'd be more than happy to bring one trustee with me to keep Shannon at least somewhat level with the individuals who will be there while I discuss the last amendments to the contract before this board officially approved it. If we are not going with the county, I'd also like to know that, I suppose, and we can go back to continuing to attempt to hire people. I will note that of the 13 official applicants, 11 of them lived what I would say nowhere close to Shannon. They would require moving. 2 of the applicants did live somewhat close to Shannon and would not have to move. One of them withdrew their application before this board could consider them, and the other one was turned down for various reasons. I'd expect putting this back up on Indeed, or putting it back on Indeed and sponsoring it once again, we get the same pool of applicants, namely from Chicago and southern and central Illinois, which is mostly where our applicants came from. I think we have an opportunity here with the sheriff's contract. It would be novel for our region. It would not be novel for Illinois. In central and southern Illinois, this is becoming the norm. In other small towns throughout the Midwest, this is becoming the norm. Last year, we appropriated $180,000, and the year before that, we spent $190,000 on the police department. This contract, as it currently stands, is for $100,000 with a $50,000 credit over 4 years, so $87.5 thousand. I've gone through the numbers before. I think the numbers make a lot of sense. I think the coverage hours makes a lot of sense. The big thing when you think about a full-time police chief, Shannon is a 35-hour work week, so we start at 35 hours. Administrative time, we know from other small towns our size, are 10 to 15 hours. So for a police chief, we're looking at approximately 20 hours on the road or in the community, give or take. So that's where we start. The police chief, we increased the salary from what it was from our last police chief. We've been advertising at $75,000 plus benefits. Once that's all said and done, you're at $90,000 at expenses for the village for a police chief who is on the road 20 hours a week. On top of that $90,000, you then have the expenses of having a police department, insurance, things of that nature. Our insurance companies, my understanding is if we got rid of the police department and our squad vehicles were insured by the county, we'd be looking at $10,000 to $20,000 of additional savings on top of the $100,000 on the year to year. So being realistic but optimistic, we'd be looking at a cost saving of somewhere in the realm of $100,000 to $115,000 per year for what I would contest would be the same amount of coverage with the sheriff's department. We have interviewed plenty of candidates. We have done our due diligence in this regard. The last time this happened, without a police chief, Marcy and I just got on the board at that time. We were without a police chief for 11 months. We eventually were left with 2 candidates that the board considered, and we offered both of them a job at separate times. They both accepted, but it was a long process. They were not close to Shannon. I mean, the big thing, I think when people think of a small town police chief, the idea is that they're going to be responsive to Shannon. They're going to know the community, and I think that latter part is true. The sheriff's office was handling all our emergency calls outside of the hours of 11 to 7 as the last 2 years anyway, which is what they will do if we don't get into a contract with them. Let's be clear. They are legally responsible for handling emergency calls if we don't have a police chief or a police officer on duty, and they will continue to do that. What this does is require them to patrol or otherwise be within city limits for 30 hours per week. They're going to go down every single road. They're going to do traffic on Market Street, and they will ask for our requests of what our priorities are. They will not do ordinances. They've been very clear on that, and that is the norm. When you look at other departments and other county sheriff contracts, that's the norm. And actually, when it's not the norm, when it's not in the contracts, I think that's where a lot of headbutting comes in, is the village wants their ordinances enforced, the county doesn't want to do it. Our sheriff was very clear from the get-go. He wasn't going to enforce them. I think that makes a lot of sense from the get-go. Bodie and I and Kip have sat down and come up with an idea of how we're going to enforce ordinances on our own, and we're ready to implement that now. It's going to be fair. We're not going to go around issuing tickets to everyone. We're going to give them warnings. If they don't listen to the warning with this nice fine carbon copy, and Bodie's going to take evidence, if they don't listen to the warnings and correct their mistakes, they're going to get a settlement offer, which just says, you're violating our ordinances, you pay this amount. It's kind of like a pseudo fine, but they don't have to pay it. But if they want to settle their ordinance violation, they can do so for a $100 settlement agreement. If they do not, we will write a ticket and we will prosecute it every 6 to 8 months. The idea is if someone doesn't want to correct an ordinance enforcement, we can write them a ticket every single day. If someone wants to test this new system, we will write them a ticket every single day, and they will have 45 cases in 6 months from now. And I think that we'll kind of get the idea across that we're going to be enforcing ordinances from this point moving forward. We can tow cars. Bodie, Kip, and I have talked about that. We have that system in place ready to go, and we can mow yards that are not in line with our ordinances. So we are ready to go on the village's side for enforcing ordinances. As it comes to what I think is probably the best argument against the sheriff's office, we will not have a dedicated deputy. This is going to be a rotating cast of deputies. I don't think that loss alone negates, in my mind, the sheriff's contract. That's where I stand. I've been pretty clear on that since October of last year when this was first brought up. It's always been my number one option, but we have done the rigmarole of posting online, interviewing candidates, and we're essentially at the same spot we were 6 months ago.
One question that was brought up to me by a community member that I hadn't really thought of or posed in regards to the sheriff's contract is the 30 hours a week. If they respond to an emergency call, is that included in the 30 hours a week?
I'd imagine it would be. I don't know.
And if
I guess I should say,
So
I
after
imagine
30
it would be
calls in a
because
week, you're getting nothing.
the 30 hours encompasses all. I could bring up the contract, how I wrote it. I wrote the contract as it currently stands. It encompasses 30 hours of law enforcement activity within village limits every week. Now, it should be noted that when they respond to emergency, the actual emergency itself, most of the time does not last exceedingly long. But yes, the actual emergency hours that they're already obligated to do would count toward that 30 hours. Just like a police chief who's off duty responds to an emergency, that would count toward their 35 hours per week. So yes, there is some, I guess, headbutting there, but it would be no difference in my mind if we had a police chief who responded in the middle of the night. In fact, we probably give the police chief time and a half or double time to respond to an emergency. Or comp time. So we're paying 2 hours for 1 hour's work, where this does not.
It also says minimum 30 hours in the contract, right? It's not just 30 hours. It's
Well, yeah, if
minimum
they're,
of 30.
it's 30 hours average per quarter. So this contract expects some fluctuation on the week to week. There's a bare minimum of 20 hours per week, but it is a quarterly required average of 30. And this is just kind of the idea, if they're at 35 and there's an emergency, they're still going to be responding in Shannon. But week to week per quarter, 30-hour a week average. And that 20 hours is just something I came up with because the original idea the sheriff brought to me was that 21 hours per week, because he said every single 8-hour shift, one person will come through Shannon and go down every single road. That wasn't enough hours, but that's kind of where they started, was if we send one person per shift for 1 hour in Shannon, we can go through and patrol every single road. So that's where I came up with that minimum of 20 hours per week. But the 30 hours is a quarterly average.
And at the end of the contract, we get all the stuff back.
We do, other than the new squad car, which we're getting a credit for,
Why do you
which
want
would
this-
not be new.
Why do you
4
want the
years.
stuff that's 4 years old back?
Well, my hope is that we never get it back. I would like this contract to last forever.
That's why regardless if the contract lasts forever, assign a financial credit to the equipment and let them have it. It's not going to accrue in value. It's only going to lose value. And in 4 years, it'll be out of date anyway.
We're still getting the value of this equipment. I guess the response I would have is, there's not much value in the equipment for us
Are
to
you
hold
kidding
on
me?
to it. For us to
What
hold
do you
on
mean
to
there's not much?
Well, the
value in
cases
the
we got on the grant, so there's some things we can't sell as well that have a monetary value associated with them for the sheriff's department, but it's not something we could just sell ourselves.
No, I mean, I'm not saying sell it to the average Dewey, Cheatham and Howe. I'm saying give it to the sheriff's department.
I think I think that would find resistance, to be quite frank. And second, if these are items we can't sell, they're not going to do us any good. Give them to a law enforcement agency that is going to be providing law enforcement services to Shannon. Would be my counter to that.
I think what he's saying is that if the contract is only 3 years and at the end of it, we don't renew or they don't want to renew, I don't think that we want it back, because then we would be responsible for trying to than get rid of something that's outdated, out of date. and
It's worth what we call
I agree. So the contract that I have it written, which can always change. Again, I haven't gotten, I've gotten input from the village, but not on specifics. So I went with 4 years because it made sense to, for the cost of the squad card, to put it over 4 years instead of 3. And I think there's something to be said to having stabilized law enforcement services for 4 years, which Shannon has not had.
it.
So as of,
Since the mayor fired the last full-time guy.
and you're talking about in 2012 or?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, be that as it may, that's over a decade ago. Actually, it's over a dozen years ago.
And actually, and this isn't a dig against you. Everybody said, "Oh, we haven't had police for so long." Well, we advertised a month this time.
Sponsoring.
Bear with me. When we finally advertised during the 11th month, I guess it was towards the end of the 11th month.
And I think that's because, what I recall is that Bonnie had been posting on Indeed, and the applicants were nothing to
She hadn't
note.
done the sponsoring.
The sponsoring.
thing. Yeah.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, most of the applicants we get through those sites will be someone from the suburbs or from southern or central Illinois. Everyone from this area knows about it. The one applicant that this board liked had just moved here 3 weeks ago, so he had not heard. He had just moved to this area, and by this area, still essentially 40 minutes or so. So we're lucky that we caught him in that sponsoring, and that's not to say if we did keep sponsoring, we'll catch someone else who just moved to this area who didn't know about this. But all local law enforcement agents within a 20-mile radius at the very least know about Shannon's policing.
Get it.
So no one from Freeport's going to apply. No one from Lena who's actively working in Lena is going to apply. Our pay compared to the Stevens County Sheriff's Office or the starting salary of a new police officer in Freeport for a police chief position, there's kind of an imbalance there. And how much higher are we going to raise this salary where it just doesn't make sense anymore for a small town? And maybe there's no number for a lot of people because they like that one-on-one interaction with the police chief who knows them, who knows their family.
Ryan, I wasn't talking against it. I just wanted everybody to know what had happened in prior.
No, I understand. I just want to make clear, every single agency in the area knows about this. If there's a law enforcement agent who wanted to be our police chief in the immediate area, they would have applied. And there are a lot of people I've talked to from Freeport. Of those 7, like I said, that have reached out, they know about the position.
If you print out the Eastland School District contract with the county, I'll make the motion to vote for it tonight.
Well,
They get a guy.
It's very close to it.
That's my only argument.
It is very close to the SRO contract. The difference is there's not a dedicated individual.
Which is to me huge. I'm sorry. You guys, if there's the power to pass it, make the motion and pass it. We'll stop talking about it.
Anyone else have any questions or points to consider?
Yeah. I mean-
Why is that a stickler? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, go.
Why is that a stickler for you that it's not?
Because I think it takes the whole purpose of having police out. Small town policing, you get so much more out of because the person knows you. He knows where he belongs at 10 o'clock at night. He knows where he belongs at 10 o'clock at night. He knows that you work late and that your lights are going to be on at midnight because of the repetition. When it's a revolving door of we never know who the heck it is, they're never going to learn that. And it's not their fault. They're just not going to be in town. The individual is not going to be in town. The sheriff department as a whole will be in town, but those little nuances will be lost.
I can see that point to a certain degree, Kyle.
And it will be the same way with kids.
But I mean,
I don't know that we had that
We're-
before when
right.
we had a set schedule and somebody was only here at
We-
6 in the morning till at night. And then
We
nobody
used
was
to.
here at the overnight.
We didn't have that. We haven't had it lately. We used to have it.
well, I mean, my thought is, counter to that.
What's that?
I mean, I see your point to a certain degree, but we're not in Chicago. We're not in a huge city. Whereas if it's going to, okay, fine. If it's 8 officers that's like getting around, well, it may take them a while, but they may learn
but they're also in 7 towns, not 1. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but if we do this, we're sort of.
They'll be here
fledgling
more.
Embarking
I
on
would
this,
bet
so
$10 by the 1st of January, they will be in the city of Savannah more than they will be in the city of Shannon.
I like the idea at this point. I don't think we keep kicking the can down the road.
Guys,
No,
Okay,
listen,
but-
I'm just.
I'm
playing
never
devil's-
gonna like this idea unless we get a guy, so
I get it. As far as the contract goes, the minimum of 20 hours, I think that should be up, especially if we're gonna count in the emergency hours that they come here. So I would be more content with that portion of it if we upped that. I know the average is 30, but that should be the weekly period.
the other problem is how do you police that?
Well, how are we policing anybody before? We have
Well,
to have some trust.
No. They have the ability if they'll share the technology with you. Every one of their vehicles is low jacked.
Right, all we have to do is ask, right? Put them in the contract.
No, I mean, they have the ability to
Right,
make the
ours.
report, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
And I brought up that being able to, I brought up the fact that one of the contentions was how do we know you're actually spending the hours? In the draft contract that stands now, it calls for quarterly reports. I don't know if you guys follow the Carroll County Sheriff's online. They've been doing monthly reports for the whole county. They said they would do that for Shannon. Now, there's still no way to know whether they're actually doing 30 hours, but they can tell us how many hours, what type of calls, things of that nature. So at least it provides some sort of
With
oversight.
with the new E911, they should be able to pull per village.
And maybe they can.
I'm not gonna lie, I was there when we bought the equipment. They should be able to.
And maybe they can.
They can tell you how many 911 calls originate in Savannah.
Well,
Minor,
they
not
tell us
Carroll.
that. I know how many calls they're getting from Shannon. I know what type of calls and things of that nature.
But I mean, they should even be able to log the hours
But that's not
because
what
they
we-
log on and log off everywhere they go.
We did have one applicant that lives right in Shannon. We weren't happy with him, but maybe we should lower our expectations a little bit.
I can't.
Well,
do that
I
to you.
can't, Lord, I mean,
After what we
That's
just
not- I
went through.
yeah, right.
I'm for moving forward. I think we don't need to keep waiting on it. I do think we need to review what you have drawn up and make adjustments, and then obviously somebody should go and meet,
Someone can come with me.
yeah, and not me. Somebody that.
I mean, I
asks more
think in an
questions, but-
ideal world, I think everyone sitting on this board would prefer to have a, 20-year veteran police officer that lives on Lynn Street that's been in town for 10 years and wants to spend his last 20 years policing Shannon. Unfortunately, unfortunately, that person does not exist.
I
Um,
mean, seriously, I mean,
that's
that's
what-
exactly what.
Honestly, that we would all love that.
Yeah.
That's what we've been searching for 14 years now.
You've been searching for Andy.
Yeah.
We've had Barney. We're searching for Andy.
And that person does not
Not kidding.
exist.
And the contract isn't something that we can't get out of,
Correct. We can actually
Earlier.
get out of it ahead of time.
and it's not something that we can't continue to look, but I do think that we need to move forward. And we can still,
I think we
every
do
3 months
need
or
to
6
move-
months, put the application
Yeah,
out, but
and-
at this point,
I mean, we need to have guaranteed coverage in town,
We have guaranteed coverage in town by federal law.
only if there's an emergency.
Yeah.
Don't conflate the two. They only come when we call now. If we do this, they will be here patrolling our streets for
Consistently.
20 hours or more a week. Right now, they only call if you come, or they only come if you call.
Anybody else see a problem with what he just said?
And they have been here more because I know what you're
Shannon's been in
pointing.
Carroll County since about 1860 something.
yeah, but we.
Well, I mean, I am
But
curious too, I
because
mean,
we're talking about this $100,000, we're all of a sudden.
Mr.
in
DeCampi
county.
had mentioned the rumor or the story that we were a lawless, is that what you said, lawless?
Lawless community.
Mhm.
And where are we
It's not
here,
just the
where,
police, it's the building and zoning and
I
you
will
can do whatever you want to do.
Well, that's going to change. I can tell you that. The only reason it hasn't, I've asked Bodie to hold off until we had a system in place. Kip, Bodie, and I had a sit-down meeting. We're ready to go in that regard.
We've got a new sheriff in town.
That's gonna change, that's right.
And that being, that, the ordinance officer thing, that's been a long time coming. Regardless who the police chief.
I was gonna say, those weren't being enforced by any of the previous chiefs.
No.
anyways.
No, I will let you know, in the 2 years prior to this, there were 0 nuisance ordinance tickets written, even when they were asked to be written. So this is a problem, long time coming. We have a system in place. We're gonna go on that. I think what it comes down to, I think you said small town policing is about the connection. I disagree. I think policing should be about protecting our citizens. The sheriff's deputies can protect our citizens. That's in my mind what policing should be.
Well, if that, I'm gonna argue with that point, because if that was the case, it wouldn't matter who was at the school every day.
I don't know if it does.
Those kids make a connection with those policemen, and if you don't believe me, go talk to them. Or just go watch them interact with the kids. That I'll argue is different. Somebody made a
It might be
motion.
different, but we're not a school.
Well, all I will say to counter that is that, yes, it's important for the kids who are in the school to make that connection with the SRO. But if there was an emergency, it wouldn't matter if that SRO was there,
Oh,
or
I
Sheriff
agree.
Clipping was there, or somebody from Freeport that has the training was there. They would know what to do. That's what he's saying. They would keep the kids safe. The kids may not know them, but they'd be able to keep them safe. That's all he's saying.
The part where I'm coming from is the kids have to trust the person too.
I'll make a
Well-
motion to move forward.
By the sheer fact
Surety
that they have a uniform on, it shouldn't make them.
All right, we have a motion to indicate support
It
for the
should,
contract. Again,
but not
the official contract hopefully will be here in May. And we can look at them. This is what I would present as a motion for support of going with the county. First by Minders, second by Allen.
Marcy, are you okay?
I'm fine.
I
Yeah,
have Tylenol if you want some.
no, it's fine.
Advil?
I need that thrown out into the street.
We can do that.
Air
I
freshener.
won't offend me.
I didn't have a headache before I walked
I
in
did,
here and
seriously.
smelled that thing. I was like, oh, I don't know
It's
how you guys
instant
I'll
do
get
it.
rid of it. You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
All right, roll call.
Allen,
Yes.
Miller,
Yeah,
Shevitz,
Yeah.
Minders,
Yes.
Reuter.
My turn, yeah?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't know if you
Didn't know he was
knew that or
going.
not, but
Nancy.
Yes.
Very good. Like I said, the county still has to vote on it, and the county wants to negotiate on a few items, just
good.
like I want to change a few
I don't care
items.
what it is. I should talk about something else.
You don't want to come?
I think it would probably be better for somebody else that has more questions around it.
All right, I'll reach out.
I know this is probably counterintuitive, but it might be a good idea if Kyle went, since he's.
Are you
I
freaking
was thinking
kidding
the
me?
same thing.
No, I think that might be.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
You're two are nuts.
Yeah.
I motion.
You're needed.
Yeah, but you would have more questions and
Yeah. I don't
Or
know
at
about
least
Kyle.
for the questions that are.
Yeah, no, I'm with Ryan. I don't know about Kyle either. No.
And not to say Kyle wouldn't have great questions, but I think the ultimate goal should be to make sure this is a contract everyone's happy with.
Yeah, you're
Kyle
contract.
will not be happy with the contract no matter what it is.
Oh, Kyle could get very happy with the contract. Let Kyle write the contract.
Are you a lawyer?
I'll go to Alex Cashier and say, can I have a copy of your contract? I want your contract.
It's almost the same. It is similar in structure and in cost.
It's almost the same because we're using the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. They will be in a black car and that's about it.
We're getting the same amount of hours, but it's already done. Very good.
I motion that Kyle goes.
No.
All right. The last thing was discussion of bids for private property on Market Street. Just an idea. Obviously, there's 2 buildings for sale on either side of us. Bodie, Kyle, and I went to go look at the old thrift store. Kyle was interested originally because of the garage in the back, but it really would be of no use to Public Works, which is kind of
They
the
say it's
idea.
not big enough for Bodie.
So that was kind of the main reason I had it on the agenda. I was just thinking about it a little bit more, have some crazy ideas, but maybe none worth discussing, but I'll throw it out anyway. And there doesn't have to be any further discussion. I'm thinking holistically, the grant program that we put into place last year. So in total, we have had 6 people, I'd say, have reached out and or I've sat down with. 2 have applied for the grant. 1 was completed. The A third one was for a general store in town that never materialized. And 4, 5, and 6 were for a restaurant. Specifically, all three of them were looking at the Shannon Cafe, which was ultimately rented out to a catering business. So I like the idea that the grant program did bring in this interest. I can tell you the restaurants would not have looked at Shannon without that. So I think there's something to be said there. Another idea, and again, it's not fleshed out. I want to make it very clear. This is just an idea I had, is instead of a grant program, there's towns that have what we call incubator programs, where the village owns property and then allows new fledgling businesses to be in those properties. In my mind, I would say rent-free for some amount of time to get their foot in the door and off the ground. That might be a better way to get young businesses into Shannon without asking them to buy the whole building for however many tens of thousands of dollars. If the village gets it, and there's always a fallback that we can put a library in there, we can use it for a community center, which is a lot of private interests is interested in. Again, I don't really have any detailed plans, but I kind of did like the idea of maybe switching the grant program next year to some sort of incubator program, which would have to be fleshed out. But there's plenty of towns in Illinois that do programs like that. That was my general idea for something. Last few days I've been kicking down the can, but the original idea was to use it for public works, and that will not work. Any general ideas on these buildings, whether they're of any interest to the village and we want to put a bid on them?
I wouldn't mind. I'll make the motion to go into executive session to discuss it.
Yeah, I think we can discuss the bidding. Obviously, we don't want to be putting bids on the record, and then, that just allows people to go under us, I suppose. So you want to go into executive session to discuss it?
Yeah, kind of.
Anyone else have any thoughts or second for that?
Second.
Which,
Let's get the exact one. This is not one that's used very.
What I have won't take long, I promise.
I really just need to have this. bookmarked. Yeah.
We can't just read off. It's not on the.
No, I didn't put it. Reason for holding closed session. Real estate matters. The purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meeting held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. That's C5.
I'm gonna laugh. She put C5 in there.
All right, we had a first and a second. Any of,
C5, see little gray book.
I'll do roll call. Allen,
Yes.
Miller,
Yep.
Mashevitz,
Yes.
Minders,
Yes.
Reuter,
Yes.
Manthe.
Yes.
All right, we'll go into executive session and discuss the purchase. of property. Thank you all for coming.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What do we do?
We figured out law enforcement.
made a decision.
We made a decision.
Hey, suffocated.
All right. Left executive session at 7:47 PM. Any other closing comments by anyone?
Just no action taken.
No action taken in executive session. Hopefully our microphone's working. It doesn't like to work after we leave executive session. All right.
But you couldn't have action in it.
Well, I mean, you're saying they're not taking any action
Oh, okay.
in
I'm like,
the open meeting as a result of anything
Yes.
discussed in the executive
Sorry.
session.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
No motion to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, yeah, I mean, if you guys just want to hang out, we can do that. All
Marcia
right.
would like to make a motion to not have air fresheners.
Yes, burn those.
All right. Any opposed to adjourning?
No.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think our mic's working.
Bag the owl.
It looks like it's.
I know,
I'm
it
sorry,
says
those
that, but-
things, that artificial air fresh